Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is a reading that has been taking me a while to lead up to. As I'm recording this, we have about a week and a half left of Venus retrograde. When Venus goes direct on September 4th, Jupiter goes retrograde on the same day, so they're doing a little switchy, dancy there. I've been doing very little video-wise for August, and very little work-wise in general. It's kind of the first real break I've taken in about 4 years, and I've just been doing incessant amounts of hobby work instead of real work, and just kind of floating. Usually when I don't do work, I get super stressed out, and that hasn't happened this time, so I'm just kind of rolling with it. I keep doing that thing where I'm like, okay, I'm not micromanaging the universe, and I'm like peeking between my fingers. So this is the first time where I've actually felt like I'm coasting. It's a marked difference. So I don't really have a plan set up. I'm thinking about how I haven't done horoscope readings in 2 months, and I just don't have it in me. I spent a lot of energy doing my Midge video. It took me a couple weeks. I've got to do the dailies for next month pretty soon. You know, and I was like, oh, I gotta do a pick a pile, or I haven't done a love reading. I did the last month I put out, let me put Kefir here so you have something to look at. Last month I put out a video, Who is my inner masculine? And I was like, okay, well next month I'll have to put out Who is my inner feminine? And I feel new. And I start rallying, and I'm like, okay, I need to do work now. All I can hear is just wait. So it's not depression, it's just a pause. And everything's kind of in slow motion. There's, like, sales aren't happening, even though people are looking more. You know, tarot readings aren't booked, so my schedule's wide open for that. I've been trying to put together some inquiries for publishers for my Angel Oracle deck, and I've only done 3 of them, and I'm like, well, I should keep doing it. But it's, you know, it's like, well, should I pace myself? Because it's going to take them like 12 weeks to 6 months to get back to me anyway. Or do I force myself to fill them out in like a frenzy like I would with a job application and then hate myself anyway? So I'm just kind of letting it sit, and you know, I feel like, well, school's gonna start in September, I better, you know, get my butt in gear. And I'm like, you know what? I graduated from college 18 years ago, so I wouldn't have to be tied to the school schedule. You know, and I don't have kids, so I don't need to tie myself down to that either. But it's just that, you know, well, it's gonna be winter soon, and I'm not gonna be sweating my balls off that I don't have, so I'm gonna, you know, have 5 minutes to myself to actually sit and do this work that I want to do. I should point out for this video, you'll see my hand looks a little bit rough right now. Let me get this is brushing the cat, and this is whacking my knuckles into stuff. So Maestro got a little bit chunky, and I was working on the chunks, and he does not like it when I pull apart the chunks with my fingers, because apparently it hurts his skin, and he has an auto bite feature that he can't really control. This is a scratch though. The bite was under here, but it healed already. So And then he's purring because he knows I'm trying to help him. It's not really his fault. He's almost 15 and he's doing the best that he can. So, just if you see my hand and you're like, what the hell happened to your hand? Did you stick it in the garbage disposal? No, I did not, because we don't have one. Although, to be fair, sometimes he is a bit of a garbage disposal. Not as much as a dog, but, when there's Ham around, he definitely is. So, the reading that I'm doing, if I, like, tismed a little too hard and forgot the plot here, this is a long intro. Oh well. It's also like 3 in the morning, and I had a nap attack after going to the store, so I'm still disoriented from that. But it was too people-y 2 days in a row, so I'm like wrecked. What information, like what is your boggle? Like, I had it sounded so good in my head earlier. Like, what's going on with you in relation to Venus retrograde? Okay. Like, what does Venus retrograde mean for you? Like, what are you working on? And obviously this is a collective reading, so it's not going to be like, you'd be watching it and you'd be like, well, this is BS. This doesn't work for me at all. It's because when I read, I get like an energy template. And only so many stories fit within that template. Right? If I want to it's like trying to put everything round in a heart-shaped box. It's not necessarily all gonna fit. So your template might be square, and you can do a lot of things with a square, right? You could put a pyramid. What else is square? Pyramid, cube, flat, square. What the hell? Why can't I think of anything that's square? I should have gone with a different example. Alright, so I have a round box. I could put a sphere, I could put an eyeball, I could put a cookie, I could put a pizza, I could put a bundt pan, a jello ring, apple pie, a cylinder, coffee cup, whatever. Those are all things that are round, that would fit in that round template. Things that are rectangular. If I had a rectangular box, I could have some kinds of pizza, I could have a lasagna, I could have, a simple house. I could probably squeeze a truck in there. Maybe a notebook. Those are all things that would fit in that rectangular template. When I have to crop something to put it on Instagram, that's a template. So what I'm getting is an energy template. So if your story doesn't fit in there, oh my god, calm down. You can either watch other videos that I've got posted, or, a different channel, or you can get a personal reading and I'll actually be focused more on your information. So for me, I'm like always got a background torrent from the Akashic Record. Basically, if you order a reading from me, I'll have some sort of name for you from your email, PayPal, Cash App payment, whatever. And then you'll be like, well, I need help with this. And then I'll be like, okay. And using those data points, that's all I need. I don't need your full name. I don't need your birthday. I don't want to know the name of the people you're asking about or any of that. It's just like these information. And I'm like, okay, Akashic Record, let's go. So that's how I do that. And again, when I do a reading, it's generally coming up with an energy template, although sometimes I do get weird side information, like, like, why do I keep getting basketball references? Like, why do I keep seeing, like, I don't know, who's a basketball player? Magic Johnson or something. And then they'll, somebody will come back and they'll be like, well, I played basketball when I was in high school, or like, we watch it every week. Or, I'll come up with some detail like, maybe like you had this particular trauma growing up, and people will be like, well, I don't want to hear that. That's not, nope, not me. And 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 then it will end up being true. So those kinds of things you'd have to keep in mind, because I don't, like, I read pretty raw, but in possibly because of being autistic, the way that I speak and the way that I present the information is probably different than normal. So maybe that will sway your interest in what's going on here, or maybe it'll make you more interested. If you're neurodivergent, or if you're also part of the LGBT community, maybe I'll be able to pick up on something that other readers don't, or just the way that I relate information and relate to the world could be in a wheelhouse similar enough to yours that it makes more sense to you to hear me talk about stuff. It's like, I don't try to put my own personal bias on the stuff, but each time you see a reader speak, they're filtering the information through their particular avatar. So even if I were to say the same information from the Akashic record as somebody else, they might describe it slightly differently. Like, the details in the sentence might stand out, like somebody's wearing a scarf, a backpack, and hiking boots. I might be more focused on the backpack. Someone else might be more focused on the scarf and the pattern and what it's made out of. And someone else might be like, well, it's these brand of hiking boots from this year, and they have 3 different options and all that. So the particular details that come out, even for the same basic information, is different for different readers. So that's sort of the point of, why you should listen to me. Instead of avoiding reading this any longer, I'm going to put Kefir over here on the side, out of view, and I'm going to start reading. Now, I pulled out what seems like an inordinate amount of cards. I'm like, this reading's going to take forever. It's going to be daylight by the time I'm done. So I've got the Lover's Oracle. I've got the Work Your Light Oracle. I've got my phrase deck that I made. I feel like I'm about to snarf or sneeze or something. Mini Rider-Waite. It's cute and little. My nails are blue, but it looks purple on screen. That's weird. The, oh, now I'm not working, Gemstone Tarot. She calls this Smells Like the 70s, and I couldn't remember the real name of the deck for a second. The Morgan Greer Tarot. I feel like my cards are smelly, but it's this candle. My best friend gave me this candle, and oh god, it smells like Barbie perfume. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, so the Morgan Greer Tarot, I customized mine. Took me 5 days. I've got the Elemental Hexagons. I have the Gilded Reverie Lenormand. I really need another Lenormand. I should make one. I've got the Wild Unknown Alchemy. Also hexagons, but bigger. And I've got my charms, which have a little bit of clay dust in them now, but we're not going to worry about that. I've started making, I have them available in the flat form as a PDF that you can get in my Etsy shop. But I've started making bas-relief versions of them. And I found that this particular air dry clay kind of hard to work with. So, and then I forgot about it. So there's, you know, and I was thinking, oh no, I could get them in the silicone, and then I gotta drill a little hole and put a little hook in there so that people can wear it like around as a charm. It's so then I got the sad acting and the happy acting. And the heart, which I decided needed a little border to stand out more. Oh, that looks delicious. A candy heart. And then the skull. So this looks a little different than the drawn one. But this is how far I've gotten. So eventually I'm going to have these little bas-relief charms. I gotta silicone mold them, and then I gotta get some epoxy. So at some point when I can pretend to afford that, we're gonna get those. I might have enough clay to do all of them. I have like 200 something charms. So we're gonna use those, and I'm not sure in what combination. But I'm gonna start another segment because I've been going on and on. And we'll get into the actual reading. So what is my takeaway? I gotta write that down. What is my takeaway from Venus retrograde? What is my takeaway? From Venus retrograde. That is the clearest form of the question that we can ask with the shittiest of handwriting. So, cards in a minute, cards in 2 seconds. I believe that Venus is going to be remaining in Leo until October, unless I am entirely mistaken. Okay, we're going to start with 1 or 2 of these wild, unknown alchemy. I keep getting the archetypes and the alchemy confused when I try to say them because it's a little bit too similar. The archetypes are round, though, and I've had them longer. These are my newest cards, and I've had them for a couple months, and I haven't used them that much because I haven't been doing that much tarot. Alright, give me 2 information to start with, and then I want to clarify with the elemental hexagons. So we're going to do matchy-matchy here. Oh, alright. I was going to say, oh, 2 fell out and then Kefir fell, probably because I wiggled the table. I'm going to adjust not the volume, the lucidity of the focus. Okay. Okay. Autumnus. Well, we are in the northern hemisphere. We're heading towards fall. I really like this orange situation. It looks like it's on fire, which unfortunately reminds me of Maui. You know, big healing energy to everyone there, especially the indigenous and native type peoples. The long-term residents with family trees in the area. The sacral chakra here. It feels very burnt to me. Like, it looks more vibrant than you'd normally get with autumn energy. Let me see what this other one is, though. I realize that the top half of the card is out of focus, but there's no real great way to fix that. Ooh! Sal Sapiente. Wise Salt. Okay. So we have, like, a light refraction. Try to focus that a little better for both. These are salt crystals, but the way that they're rendered, it looks like a bunch of skulls packed together. We have a theta in the middle, and we have this oval up here as well. So I'm seeing like the same template. Now I'm going to read both of these because I want to. 123. I just thought of fall and then of the patriarchy. It's my favorite time of year. 23. Now, if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're going to be experiencing an equinox anyway, right? Where the day and the night are the same length. I'm really intrigued by this. It's like the theta's acting as a prism. This feels like a prism camp. Why salt? Oh, this is talking about preservation. And I was talking about ancestral and family tree. Grit to slippery roads. That makes me think of winter. Because we're coming out of, at least in the northern hemisphere, we're coming out of summer and heading into winter. And in the southern hemisphere, coming out of winter and heading into summer. It's not exact time frame, but it's something that I'm looking at on the horizon. Which also, if you think about the horizon, you think about the sky and the curvature of the atmosphere, that's where a lot of those colors are coming from. Like in the sunsets. Okay, so the wise salt. Someone who carries wise salt is immediately recognizable. Their words hold meaning. Their stories are deep and true. They have wisdom that cannot be attained by any other means than decades of pain and pleasure. So we're talking about experience points here. You may experience wise salt through the elders of the community, right? So family ties, the roots. When this card appears, know that everything you are going through will be of use down the line. Alchemically, you are being brined. So if you've been feeling salty during Venus retrograde, it's sort of saying this is alchemically a brining period. Right? I'm in the brine, and when I'm cooked, after I've been through the fire, I'm releasing all of this flavor. I've gone to Flavor Town. So I apologize to anyone who's watching this without snacks. 123. So look at autumn. Oh, I just heard part of a line from Autumn Almanac by the Kinks. My Autumn Almanac. The denouement of Earth's grand narrative. Well, that's certainly suggestive. Culmination, harvesting, and resolution. The story of our year finds closure, and we begin to look towards the horizons. Didn't I just say? The horizon. We begin to look towards the horizons of the next one. So essentially what we're getting is Three of Wands energy here. I'm looking to the horizon for what's coming. Although the Three of Wands is usually like, I've been waiting for my stuff. My stuff is out for delivery. I've been waiting all day. Where the hell is it? And this is more like my little turkey baster, the little plastic thing in the turkey that pops up when it's done. My thing popped up, I'm done. Not like, where's my shit? That's the difference here. This card will appear as an indicator of efforts culminating, of hard work paying off, of fruit hanging low for the taking. Right? So I'm not waiting. Everything that I'm trying to get is already here. It's like I've finished. Looking back, you realize many hands and hearts have helped you along the way. Holding tight to your bounty won't do you any good. The alchemist shares their wisdom and wealth. They offer their boons back to the world as part of the ongoing cycle. So it says, be like an autumnal tree, come to fruition and then release. So this is saying, like, somebody who's old and salt, like, a captain, a sea captain, an old salt, right? He's seen some shit. He's done with his voyages and now is recounting stories of what he's learned to his kids or whoever's kids are nearby, because he's been gone so long he didn't have any. Right? He's releasing his information to the community. I'm getting back in touch with my family. I'm finding out about my ancestors. I'm getting information because I finished what I'm doing, like, in the present moment. So this serves as the topic for what... I put my... Wait, no, I did it. Oh, I left it here. Okay. What was my takeaway from Venus retrograde? Right? Was it the last month or however? Like, I've been feeling pretty salty. Everything sucks. Like, nothing's happening. What's going on? Well, the point of brining is to sit there in the salt until you're done. But we see that there's, in the act of sitting, that these sort of elements are being separated out. I'm increasing my bandwidth, right? I'm being broken down a little bit in some way to release a greater potential, right? My food was bland, so I put salt in it, and now I can taste a sweet, I can taste garlic, I can taste like a fennel, I can taste tomato, because apparently we're having some pasta or something, whatever, right? I can taste the basil, I can taste the oregano, I can taste the meatball, I can taste the ravioli, I can taste the what else do you put in there? Rosemary, because I put some salt in there. So each stripe of color is like another ingredient that sort of separates out enough to become important. Whereas if you hadn't had this experience, you could be like, everything's the same. Well, it's like, oh no, everything isn't the same. You know, I'm going through these different levels of learning new things from what I've been through, right? Like I'm putting a different filter on my picture, now I'm seeing different things. You know, like with the green filter on, I only saw a dog and a chair and a person, but when I put the red filter on, I saw a cat and a raven and 32 peonies, you know, that kind of thing. Like I saw the movie and I put the movie in widescreen for the first time. I only saw it on VHS, and now I'm seeing all these background details. That's what this is. It's literally revision, right? This is my glasses. I've got bifocals on, except it's like 7 focals. Right, and we get that because retrograde, I'm retracing my steps, I'm going backwards, I'm reviewing, rethinking restituting, and so on. So let me clarify these if I need to with a little bit. I had a couple fall out, but I'm not going to take them. I didn't finish what I was saying. I want to sort of clarify these or add another layer. So I don't know if I want 7 cards. Manganese, clarifying catalyst. I just said I was clarifying. That's funny. So I'm going to put this on the tree because we're melting something here. Manganese. I'm clarifying. I'm going to add it to myself to create another alloy. And notice how I said I didn't want 7 cards, and it's number 25, number 7. And I also have 5 times 5, and 5 is a pivot, so I'm going out to each corner to look in a different direction instead of only looking that way and seeing the same shit every time I review my memory, which doesn't process it because I feel the same way every time. If I come over here and look back at the memory, I'm like, oh, with the blue filter, now I see what that was for. Helium, but kind of upside down. So number 2. Flight to safety, full energy. Full energy inverted gives me the idea of I'm looking at a film that's being run in reverse. You know, instead of jumping out of a helicopter, I look like I'm flying backwards up into one. Is helium a noble gas? I think it might be. Oh yeah, it says noble gases on it. Oh, okay, I know why it's backwards. It's like a movie being run backwards. I look, instead of feeling of like falling all the time, this time I'm flying. I put it in reverse because it's Venus retrograde. And now it looks completely different than what I thought. So it's just reiterating that. So we're going to put helium over here because it's the same color. I was giving this, like, noble gas gives me, like, a leave me alone kind of a thing. Like, I'm alone with my thoughts, but now I can see it from a different point of view. I've had enough downtime, which is really what I've been doing for the last few weeks, is downtime, to sort of think of things differently. Ooh, this kind of popped out. Really bouncy. So we have barium, so we have these little chemical roses here. Roses and thorns, wisdom. So we have the energy of the star, which is 17, breaking down to 8. It says name of the pharaoh, strength. And of course 8 in a lot of decks is the strength card, but we have 11 here. 56, breaking down to 11. Barium. Was that chemistry cat? Something about barium. So-and-so died, why don't you bury him? Or, I wanted to tell you a good physics joke, but all the good ones are gone. Which I think is also a noble gas. This looks like it's right between the two, because it's like like the orange is burning down. It also kind of looks like turds, but, wisdom. And the star. So, this is 56, the universal timing, at which point I am processing what I've learned, the wisdom, and the star is I have hope for rebuilding. Right? I'm no longer concerned about getting through because I've started to figure out what I've learned. This is all sort of like a preface for the reading. We haven't even gotten into like what the hell's going on with me. This is why. Why? The why of the lesson, I suppose. Like, what are we supposed to be learning? I'm never going to use this. You're supposed to be learning how to learn. All right, one more. Unamash. Why is it 2? You son of a bitch. I'm like, give me 1 card. All right. Of course, by taking 2 more cards, now I'll have the 7 that I was going on about. So we have carbon. kind of sideways. We're looking at a DNA molecule because we are carbon-based life forms on this planet. We have number 6. Backbone of life, the lovers. So we have Gemini energy, which makes sense because it's a double helix. Sideways. Oh, I know why. Because Mercury retrograde. Let me look at my notes. Mercury retrograde until the 15th. Oh, and 1 and 5 breaking down to 6. Okay. So it's kind of like Venus retrograde dragging Mercury retrograde with her, creating this healing energy. It's giving me a little bit, be careful what you say. For like a week after Venus goes direct on the 4th. They have aluminum kind of going the other direction. New technology and structure. Okay. So I'm going to put this over here in the this is like the tree, and this is like I'm rebuilding the building. Let me focus aluminum. All right, so we're looking at aluminum, so I've got that kind of focus now. It's giving me I'm getting a metal skeleton. I'm going from I mean, there's not that much difference between metallic and crystalline, but it's like I'm going from it's like instead of getting a hip replacement, I'm getting a whole new spine. I'm getting a new backbone. And this is really coming from the self-confidence from knowing that you've learned something and completed something. I don't have to go back and do this over and over again. I also just caught myself with 2 seconds left on my video segment, so that was nice. I don't have to repeat myself. Again, I don't have to repeat this lesson because I've gained strength from it. And I think of aluminum, I think of tin foil. I mean, tin foil, technically tin, but I mean, we still call, at least in my area, in my family, we still call aluminum foil, we still call it tin foil. So, and then we have, this is 13, which is that death cycle, right? It's sort of like I'm getting rid of the cladding that I needed to survive this re-entry. And I know that I don't think the space shuttles are really aluminum. I think they use ceramic tiles on them. But this is what it looks like. Like what it looks like and what it says about the structure of it is different. And I know that sounds hypocritical, but one aspect of the card is speaking to this, you know, strengthening my backbone. I'm having more courage. I'm letting my sacral energy, that creative pool, flow. I'm focusing on growth aspects, and also know that the shell that I've had around me to protect me served its purpose, but I don't necessarily need it. So we have a lot of aspects of like recombining, like melting something down and then rebuilding it into something else. Right? Like, it's kind of like people would like melt down their stuff to make, bullets. Like in the Revolutionary War. Be like, you got any pewter or silver or whatever? Like, but this is different. It's like, I'm gonna take all my broken glass. I'm gonna add carbon. No. What happens if you add manganese to glass? I accidentally broke all of my lead crystal goblets. I'm going to melt down the glass, add manganese, and now I have something that I can use as like a ceremonial knife that connects me to my ancestors. And we're not talking about like, you know, bloodletting or anything. It's a ceremonial knife is like dividing, and here we have a division. It's like I'm using this ceremonial knife to divide the space between my reality and the reality of my ancestors. Like I'm cutting open the gateway. I'm using it to, like I'm using it for ribbon cutting ceremonies because it doesn't work as scissors. That's what I'm getting there. So now that we've got this, why, hey, what happened? Kefir wants to sit on the cards. Now I can get more into, like, what is the takeaway? Like, what's been going on? Probably kind of a late time to point out that I already pre-shuffled all of these decks. I'm gonna start with a few Lenormand and a few Tarot. So the Tarot, Lenormand. Start out after like 40 minutes of faffing about. Candle Waft. Okay, there's one. Alright. So what's the deal with the Venus retrograde? What are we learning? Where's the juicy bits that people want to hear about? Oh, I guess I gotta get a fourth one. I gotta get a fourth one. It flung out, and it has a number 4 on it. King of Cups, almost all the way inverted. Alright, let me put this over here. Get a few of the... Oh, alright, I guess I'm getting the mini rider weight. Now, if you get a personal reading, I will... That's way too many. I will, shuffle on camera. Free readings. I'm not going to waste all that time with editing and combining to do that. And I don't want to mean that as like waste, but just, you know, if you get stuff for free, you just have to take it with the salt that I didn't stack the cards. And, like, honestly, who fucking has time for that anyway? Alright. So, if you have enough time to put your cards in a certain order to fake people, then you kind of deserve what you get when you watch that. The Magician. Look, he's autistic. He's got a little infinity. Alright, the Magician. Why do I feel like he's building with Legos? Okay, whatever. These roses up here look like the roses on the was it barium? Yeah, on the barium card. He should be doing chemistry in the lab here, but I don't know why I feel like he's building with Legos. He's got like a Lego chemistry set. Oh, come on. Give me some cooperation here. Okay. Apparently he's also the spleen. Alright, so we have this King of Cups here. We have the Hermit. Virgo energy. I just heard deluminate and lights out with a little bit of Lisa Marie Presley on there. I've got the 8 of Cups at a weird angle. This is very, like, getting shaken up. Like I'm on the carnival ride and I'm gonna hurl. New moon. I don't remember when the one was in August. The new moon was on like the 14th or something. Something around there. 15th. 9 and 8 is 17. Was it on the 17th? I don't think it was, but we'll just say roughly on the 17th after effect of the new moon in August. Oh, I don't remember what sign it was in. I have the Knight of Pentacles, which I feel is where this King of Cups actually is. It's like I'm in the wrong suit. I'm ill-suited. I'm not dressed for this occasion. I gotta double over here. Hold on. It's a little more Gemini energy. Which is weird because... Oh, no, Mercury does rule Gemini. What the hell am I thinking? So I have Four of Cups inverted, which is good, which means I'm accepting the universe's offer, or I've come out of a state of apathy, but I've also been doing a lot of work. So I've gone from -4 to 8. But if I just say I'm doubling, I'm going from 4 to 8, that means that I'm increasing. So I'm doing science, bitches. And somehow it's revitalized my interest. This looks like, you know, instead of a cup, we could say it's like a flask. Right? All of these experiments failed, and I've really gotten butthurt about trying to figure out my hypothesis. But now I've got the solution, and I've gone double time to put it into effect. And I've let go of all of the experiments that sucked in the past. Like, I didn't just have 4 experiments, I had like 11. Or I didn't have 3 that went bad, I had 11, because I got 3 here and 8 here. That's 11. But on the 12th experiment, now we're cooking. Right? And then he's got coins here, right? He's like hammering the stuff that's got the manganese in it. Right? These are my new class things that I made. I figured out how to do it. Oh, and then with the aluminum. I've learned, this reminds me of Star Trek 4. The one where they go back in time to get the whales. Right? Retrograde. Like, going back in time. So they go back in time to get the whales, and Scotty's trying to get this guy to build a tank for them to put the whales in the starship, and he's like, I need you to make aluminum, and I need it to be clear, and I need it to be a foot thick. And this is that work finally coming together. We're not over here yet, though, but we'll get there. Okay, this is like that same inverted king from the house card. This is the man. Wait, no. Is it the man? The man. This man is feeling in his feels. He's kind of waiting for his love to come in. He's sort of in that 3 of Wands energy, like, where is she? Where'd she go? But it's inverted. It's like and it's giving me back this Maui energy. It's like I'm the guy, I'm supposed to be in charge of the house, but now I'm homeless, and I'm out here, like, wandering around, like, hoping that my new invention will give me the abundance that I'm looking for. Right? It's like I spent all this time and like rebuilding, and now I'm trying to get someone to notice me. Like, I did it. Like, somebody tell me I did a good job. Like, somebody acknowledge that I did, like, I adulted. I did the thing. You know, somebody come in here and give me a cookie. Tell me I'm good. So this is the woman, the sensual version of the woman. And she's sort of looking out and like looking at this guy coming in and be like, what the hell is that thing shiny? That's that shiny thing. It's right in my eyeballs. You know, she caught a glimpse out the window and she wasn't even done getting dressed. So you have Ace of Swords with the woman energy. It's like a sharp perception, and especially with the woman on here, it's giving Queen of Swords, which is very like clear, crisp thought that's very creative. You know, like I'm clear of mind and I can see each iteration. Like I can see each step clearly, but I'm still in a place where I can envision the next step. Like I'm not just winging it. I'm clear about what I'm creating, right? Like I am clear that I need to, that in order to go from, I don't know if I can find this in here. Oh, here it is. That if I want to take this and make it into a charm that people might want to use more, instead of having just paper, I am clear that I must first make a clay model, and then I must get the silicone and put it in the silicone to make a mold, and then I must put the epoxy in there, and then I must drill the hole, and then I must put the little hook in, and then I may sell it when I have a bunch of them done. So this is this energy, this Queen of Swords. I have a creative process, but I understand what steps need to be taken. So we have this clarity of vision coming in, right? I've had my eureka moment. And we have flowers. Queen of Swords energy. I just whacked the table with my other hand. Where the hell is my hand? Queen of Swords. And it's kind of coming at an angle. You know, it's sort of this message saying you did a good job. Like, give me compliments. Give me compliments. You know, but it's like, there's, like, where's my accolades? Like, I'm so... Again, it's very, like, it's sort of like senpai notice me. But it's very... And it's coming from both energies, too, because there's this, this king energy that's been reduced to a page is masculine energy, but then I have this Queen of Swords energy sort of coming in with the same message. Like, what is over there? But it's also with these together, it's like if she's the one that's seeing him holding this thing that he made glinting out in the yard, it's also giving me, like, why haven't I heard from you yet? You know, it's like I'm offering this new thing that I've smelted and molded and turned myself into, but nobody sees me. But the person who does see you is like, where the hell are you? It's kind of like, there's a gap in the communication. And I think this is where the Venus retrograde is coming in. There's some song from the 80s that I think might be, is it Australian band? Where they're singing like Two Hearts, something, something, something. I don't know if it's Men Without Hats or if it's somebody else. But the, it's not like we've been separated so much as, you know, we might have seen each other from across the room, but then the room shook and split apart in the middle, and a river of fire spewed forth. And it took us like 12 years to get back together because I accidentally like rode into your yard on the 64th day of the 12th year, and you happen to see me out there and you're like, who's that? So it's not like, oh, we came together and then we had a relationship and we came apart and now we're mending it because people grew and changed and learned some shit. It's I've been going through my own remolding, tempering, recombining chemical process of myself, and now I want to be seen for who I am now, but I can't tell that somebody's seen me because I don't see them yet. And whoever is like come look at my new shiny me, is in a masculine energy, which just means left brain more so. Like I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. And whoever's in the, like, who's that? Secret admirer kind of energy is in the feminine energy, is a more like, I'm gonna put on my sweats and my flippy floppies and grab my keys and wallet and just kind of go out the door and see where the weather takes me. You know, like I don't have a solid plan, whereas this one is like, I've been collecting data for 6 months and adjusting accordingly every time my experiment doesn't work. So I've gone back and I've reconnected and right? This is like data dumping, and this is like let's take belly dancing classes because they just happen to have them today. That's the difference in the energies. It's sort of a more driven energy, a more detail focused energy, and one that's more kind of whimsical in a sense. And it's not to say that each person couldn't be each, it's just whoever is in those during the Venus retrograde that is causing this kind of relationship to occur. Now, I could say it does look like a love relationship, but it might not necessarily be that. It could be like, this is my thing that I want to take to Shark Tank, and here's some investor, right? Here's my, for me, it's like, here's my Oracle deck, and here's a publisher that I don't know about yet, or an agent or somebody. You know, this is me, and this is my soulmate. This is me. This is my twin flame. This is me. With my brilliant new theory of how to help other people learn stuff, and here is some institute or school or whatever that's like, hey, why don't you come over here and teach the people the thing? So that's the template, and those are different things that would fit in the template, right? So the relationship is the cookie, and the printing is the dinner plate, and the school thing is a sphere that all fits in that same template. It's not like, oh, I don't know what it means. It's those are the things that fit in that basic scenario. So I've got to change the battery and change the thing, and then we'll get some more cards. While I was changing the battery, I was thinking, this energy of look at me, look at the thing, is very Leo, and this sort of gap of nobody loves me or nobody's paying attention to me is very much the difference between the sun energy and Venus retrograde, which is actually Taurus energy. Like, And technically, inverted Earth is like air energy, right? I've been ungrounded. I'm floating around here, which is probably why there was Queen of Swords. Right? Venus isn't used to being in the air. Although that's kind of interesting if you think that Venus also rules Libra. But it kind of, I mean, it makes sense, right? If Venus isn't Earth, then she's air. And this would be the Venus energy. But the idea of Venus retrograding in Leo is nobody's paying attention to me, basically. Nobody loves me today. Which is, you know, something that I've said a lot throughout my life. But then I realized it's because normies are out there. No offense. Although if you're watching my channel, you're probably a little bit neurospicy. Hopefully you're watching my channel. I feel like my readings are pretty good. Sometimes I'm funny, and when I watch it back, I make myself laugh. Council of Light. Oh my god, why are you not focused? It's because this isn't a video camera. It's supposed to be for still pictures. But the audio is better than recording from my computer directly, so this is what I'm doing until we can upgrade. Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. This is that ancestry connection thing I was talking about. Now, you're not bound to do what your ancestors say. You're sort of bound to heal yourself, and in that way, you have a ripple effect on your ancestors, so they have it's not an investment. They have a vested interest in what you're doing, right? Because you don't want the peer pressure from dead people. You want to say, this is what I'm doing. What do you know from your experience that can help me, that can be programmed into the DNA that we're sharing, right? And that, you know, they might say, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. We do this in that family. And you're like, oh, I see that worked out real well for you. All right, so I'm not shuffling these. I just happen to be grabbing one out from the middle because I was feeling it. So now we have Unbound in reverse, which usually just means confusion or delay. We have a full moon here. So again, I was talking about that new moon energy from like the 14th or 17th of August, whenever the hell that was. Our next new moon is in Virgo on the 15th of September. Now, the 15th of September is when Mercury goes direct, right? It's a little bit behind Venus. Now, Mercury is going direct in Virgo, and Venus going direct in Leo. And it's sort of like a little clockwork, right? Because we have Jupiter going retrograde on the 4th in Taurus, which was that Venus energy there. And Mars is in Libra. So it's all over the place. It's just like a big cat's cradle clusterfuck. But anyway, this moon energy, right? We had 2 full moons in August. I kept wanting to say July. 2 full moons in August, right? I'm recording this on like the 26th or something, so we haven't had the second one yet. But this is kind of what we're doing. We're looking between the 2 new moons now. The one in August and the one in September, because that's during the period during which Venus will be going direct. So we have Unbound, floating, right? It's like Earth energy being sucked upwards into the air, like I said with the Taurus and Libra. releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So what I'm talking about is contracts is like, we do this in that family, you have to do it too. I'm like, no, it didn't work for you. So that's saying the patterns, right? Not necessarily the soul pattern unless you've been in your family line a bunch of times as different, ancestors, which can happen. Past lives, contracts, and so on. But it's like, I don't have to, it's like, I don't have to maintain the deed to this house just because I inherited it. I could sell it. I can, restructure the terms. I can rent it out, whatever. Right? So I don't have to do it the same way anymore. And that's the coming in as this sort of spiritual node on top of, I guess I need one more, on top of the conceptual science experiment thing of like, I'm smelting myself down and remolding myself and with new alloy. And you think of the idea of the relationship between ally, a helper, and alloy, combining things together to help make something better. So we have the no card, the grappling hook thing. Wait, postpone, pause, and say no. So I had said I was on pause. Pause, like meow. Did I say pyramid? I did, because I said square. So no card inverted means the sort of holding period is over. Right? I mean, we already knew that. It's just a confirmation. Which I guess is good, but it's sort of disappointing to keep getting the same information over and over again, because I would like to elaborate a little bit. So I'm going to get, I don't know if I'm going to use the charms or not. Maybe I just had them out to talk about them, which is great because I have them all mixed up now. I hope that's not the 37, because I don't like that card. So I want to get some words. So I have my phrase deck and the heart cards, the Lover's Oracle, to help with that sort of Gemini energy. This one tried to flip out. Let me get one. I think I need 4 of those. But I'm gonna... Alright, so here's my 4th one, but we're gonna hold that till after the heart cards. I know I didn't yank those out on camera, but there's limited space here. So we have, I will not blank if you don't blank. So we're looking at conditional love here. I'd forgotten how beautiful it is, life is, or you are. And somebody opened the door. Okay. This reminds me of the conditional love with the somebody opened the door. Reminds me of like Court. So I've been watching LawTube, and specifically makes me think of, you cannot bring in this evidence unless the other side opens the door for it. Like, if they are doing their witness on the stand, that's on their side, then if they ask them a question and they mention the thing, if they mention the prior arrests, or if they mention the side piece, whether that's a weapon or a person, then you can talk about it in court because somebody's opened the door. But if they don't mention it, then you can't bring in that evidence for your side. And I feel like this, how I've forgotten how beautiful it is sort of a side comment. So I'm not sure what that means yet in relation to everything else, but we'll get back to that in a second. So let's get a couple of these heart cards. I was not expecting to open the door. I think that's just an example, though, of what that reminds me of. Because it's also giving me, like, I've been in a place where it feels like I'm only acceptable if I do this and that and that. And I've been beaten down so much by this that I've forgotten how beautiful it is to be myself. And when I open the door and walk the hell away from all that, now I feel better. So let's read it that way, because that makes more sense with the rest of the reading. Right? I'm walking out of this house that I inherited because it's better when I live somewhere else. Because they always told me that I'm a piece of crap if I don't behave a certain way, and I thought I went no contact, but then I was the only heir, so now I have to deal with this shit. Oh, alright, I got a bunch of those. Just trying to get my cards to all go in the same direction. Whenever I shuffle the heart cards, they get all turned around, so I gotta fix it. No. No. Alright, I guess I don't need that one because it's sucked back up into the deck. Alright. Okay, I think I've got a paragraph here. Emotions are naturally... No, hang on. Emotions are a natural and necessary part of life, but they can also distort your perception and cloud your vision. In order to see things clearly, you must let go of resentment. So this is... I mean, resentment could be the conditions, but where's my other friggin' little... There. Right? This is usually apathy, but I resent all of these cups, and I'm not going to take another one. Now I'm letting go of resentment. You know, I'm in my feels, because it's cups, I'm in my feels, and I'm, you know, I'm never going to love this because it looks like these other ones. That's a condition. All right. You may not always understand why certain things happen. However, there is always a higher purpose to the events in your life. Through turmoil, a blessing will soon be revealed. And that's that thing of breaking up and melting down, and then having the star card, and then where's my little guy on a horse? What the hell? Where'd he go? I'm looking for my Page of Pentacles because I lost him. Oh, here he is. Okay. There we go. You may not always understand why it happens, but there's a higher purpose, and it will soon be revealed, right? So I've melted myself down, and now I'm something else. Deep in your heart, you already know the answer. Do what feels right. So this is kind of this guy, the magician. Right, and do what feels right is that giving this, you know, I'd forgotten how beautiful it is. So the emotional turmoil, conditional love. Somebody opened the door. I'm out and about. And I've forgotten how beautiful life is. Now everything seems kind of magical. That looks like the same color on the camera, but it's really not. Okay. So let me take this other card that I had. Grounding of the heart center. Is that not literally what I was talking about? The Earth card that's been inverted and is now an air card is ungrounding. And especially if we're dealing with Venus on an emotional sense, we have grounding of the heart center. So, and I see 18, which is the moon, which breaks down to 9, which was that hermit, which was inverted, which means that there's a brightening happening. I've been inside doing my work, and I feel more confident in myself, sacral energy, in my creative flow, which goes up into the solar chakra that fuels it, which is this golden energy here, where the Leo energy sits. And then it rises up into my heart chakra, and I feel self-confident, and then I feel at ease. I feel like, like I'm like breathing. So I haven't gotten Morgan Greer card, so let's just get a couple of these. Because I feel like we're sort of in the middle of it, but there isn't really any... There's not really a good detailed explanation on a more mundane level about what this means for people who are dealing with the day-to-day of Venus retrograde. So I got 4 more cards here. So apparently Venus retrograde is dealing in 4s, which is fine. The Fool. I thought we saw the Fool already. Judgment. So we've gone from one end of the journey to another, right? I started out and now I'm graduating. The World would be the next card after that if I really wanted to complete, but the World is really just is the transition to the next world, right? I've entered a new realm. So then we have 6 of Wands inverted, Leo energy. Now I think that's Leo and Saturn, or Jupiter and Leo. It's Jupiter and Leo. Jupiter's retrograding on the same day as Venus going direct. So we're just saying that Venus is still in Leo, but even though it's going out of retrograde, somebody else is going back in, right? So we're just talking about Venus retrograding in Leo here. Jupiter is going in Taurus, so we're just saying that same sort of Taurian energy. Still retrograde, but Venus being released. 10 of Cups, but it's coming inverted. So why are we depressed? Like, are we sad that it's over? Are we glad that it happened? I'm sad because it feels like nobody's seeing me. Why do I have such bad luck? Right? It doesn't feel like my luck, it doesn't feel like my luck has changed, even though I went through this whole fucking journey and I know that I graduated because I processed my shit. Like, I did the thing. I can see it. I'm holding it. I did the thing. So why am I depressed? Why do I feel like nobody sees me? And this might be like an internal thing. So I think I am going to have to get a couple charms to wrap it up here, because we need to finish. Alright, so we're getting into the charm bucket. Why do I feel like, why am I depressed? Why is Venus retrograde making me depressed? I don't need Weird Al right now. Well, I'll keep him on the side just in case one of his songs pops up in these other charms. Splish Splash, I was taking a bath. All About a Saturday Night. Although that makes me think Taken Aback. So that's inverted. Try to keep it in the frame here. We have the Penguin was inverted. So we're doing cold showers. Is that... Yeah, that's Saturn. Saturn retrograde, which is true in Pisces all month. We have the Lips, so we're not talking about it. And we have the Boombox, and we're not broadcasting either. I just heard Funky Town by Lips Incorporated. And then we have Shields are down as well. Can't warp drive. You can't warp in the starship when the shields are up. Interesting. Alright, so we have the Elephant and the Tulip and the Unicorn. What in the crap does that mean? Saturn is time. So we're in dream time with Pisces Saturn retrograding in Pisces, which might be why I'm just sort of like in a dream state where I'm not getting much work done. I'm saying that personally, but that could be coming up. But it's like at some point you've been doing a lot of work, and it might be like, I know I finished, but I'm depressed because why isn't anyone noticing that I did stuff yet? But it's like I'm in this place where I'm like emotionally vulnerable from just having completed a cycle, but I I don't have the energy or the ability to speak or broadcast what that new vision, that new overhaul of me is. That's what all these upside down charms are talking about. The unicorn is just making me think about the magician again, but it's also making me think of crown chakra. Now, the elephant is kind of also crown chakra because of the trunk coming out of the center of the head. Oh, no, no. No, they're not crown chakra. They're both third eye. I've been having trouble talking for a couple weeks. Like I can't word very well, especially with nouns, which is might be another reason why I haven't been doing tarot aside from like videos, aside from the whole like not like apparently spontaneous vacation thing. Like the words just aren't wording. So, third eye, and then we have a flower here. Now I feel like this tulip is just talking about the way that the third eye looks. And it's also making me think of like translation. Because we have two animals that have the same thing going on, but what the difference between them is the words that I don't have to describe what's going on are different enough that there's something being lost in translation. I don't need to go into why the tulip means translation right now, but that's what it means. So and it's not necessarily lost, it's just that the energy shift has to translate into something that's understandable in the physical world. Like I might be psychically connecting to the lady with her titty out who's gonna be the card, who's gonna be the person who notices me and is gonna be the one who connects with me. But this psychic connection still has to descend, has to ground into the physical world. In the meantime, you're experiencing this sort of solitary confinement, even though you're not shut in, you're just kind of there, right? You have the ability to kind of amble around, but you might just be sort of wandering back and forth. I'm just kind of tooling around the field, playing with my shiny new cell toy, whatever, my new thing that I made, and just looking at it because it's exciting. And then, like I'm kind of getting sad because nothing's happening. It's like I gotta cool it for a minute. I need to just rest because I'm like, again, I can't go warp speed with my shields up. So right now I'm in this sort of slow motion shields coming down energy. You're also not going to be able to accept someone else's energy with your shields up. And this idea of like, I've been isolated for a long time, so I'm not used to interacting with other people because I've just been sort of in my hole working and, in my cocoon, turning into goo and then turning into a butterfly kind of thing. I've been cramming for exams and, taking I've been cramming for the bar and taking my test and waiting to get my results and see if I'm a lawyer. I've been studying for my GED. I've been studying for my driver's license. I've been to the doctor and I'm waiting for my new glasses to come in. So that's the energy that's present here. So for people, I'm going to try to summarize this so that it makes more sense. For people who feel like this reading makes sense, and it's like, well, what are we talking about here? Leading up to Venus going retrograde, you have been really working on yourself. Now, heading into Venus in Leo in the last month, you may have been really getting into the nitty-gritty of doing this, finding a new perspective that adds that aspect that you were missing, that really helps launch you forward into what you've been wanting to do or make or become. And you've been able to connect to and gain information from some sort of ancestral or guide type person that's either linked to your soul group or to your DNA. Exactly. Your personal, your DNA. And some people in your soul group might not be linked to your DNA, but through either of those two threads, you're connecting to some kind of ancestral soul group kind of entity, and instead of having them dictate to you what to do, you're saying, well, let me remix that, right? Let me cover that song, but I'm going to do it in my own way. For example, my ancestors owned a grocery store. And then when that energy came up for me, I worked in the grocery store in the deli for almost 4 years. And then I rage quit because reasons. But, working that job was valuable for me, not only to have money for a few years, but also to force me to do public speaking and interacting with people. So that now when I started my channel right after I quit that, to do this as work, I was in a place where, okay, like, I'm not just going to mumble into the camera. I know that I need to speak as if I was trying to ask somebody how thick they want their bologna cut. Like, how thick do you want this reading cut? Do you want it really thin? Do you want a big honkin' chunk of reading? Like, what are you looking for here? Do you want a sample reading for 9 doll hairs? Or do you want a pound of reading for $99? That's the kind of thing that I learned from my tapping into an ancestral thing. Another thing that relates to that is, in my family there was this group called, their last name was Sweet, right? They were called the Bone Setter Sweets. So, and then, like, only the 2 last guys actually had it, like, a doctorate. Like, they were actually, like, really a doctor. But, I guess they were famous for a couple 100 years or whatever it was, fixing people's dislocations and whatnot. So I have that in my DNA. And the way that it comes down for usage for me is when I'm, like, rubbing muscles, I have an intuitive way of feeling where they need to be, and I can kind of hear what's going on with my fingers. I can sort of see and hear with my hands when I'm dealing with people's physical bodies. So that's how it manifests for me. I was trying to make a short recap, but I'm just saying that you can, you've been working on your stuff, you've been working on connecting to ancestors, you're remixing that energy in a way that works for you, not repeating what they did, and you're sort of in an emotionally open place, having just finished a major overhaul and lesson of like a big deal in your life, a big situation, a big personal aspect, freshly minted, feeling a little bit vulnerable, and now you're in a place where soon somebody will notice you and come to give you a cookie for doing a good job and saying, like, we want what you're doing, we want what you have. I want you, because damn, that kind of thing. But there's going to be sort of this interim during this sort of flippy-floppy pinball game that the planets are doing, where the connection that's going to happen exists from your third eye to their third eye, but it has to descend into the meat space. So I hope that conclusion made sense, because I haven't been listening to me and I don't know what's going on. I'm going to watch this back and hopefully I will understand it too. I know I talked about myself a lot, but I feel like those examples might help it make more sense. Because I don't want to just say, oh, this reading is for me. I want to say these are my experiences that sort of flavor the reading in a way that makes it easier for me to explain it to you. Because I don't want you to say, well, that doesn't work for me, so stop talking about yourself. That's not my situation. It's just an example to, like a parable, to make it more accessible. Right? Your ancestors could have all been like traveling in caravans, and your version of that is to get a mobile home so you can go around and rescue animals from kill shelters. Or my ancestors all were tailors, so what I'm going to do is use this to create a new kind of thread that is stronger than other threads that are in standard manufacturing. Or, my ancestors were luthiers. They made instruments. But what I'm going to do with that energy is be a pop star. Instead of the example that I said for me. So hopefully that was clear. This was only the second, big reading I think I've done since I figured out I'm autistic, and I feel like I like it better. I didn't use a spread, I didn't have a setup, I just kind of threw down. You can get, I have more of these kitties, energy work buddies with crystals in other energy work tools in my Etsy shop. You can print out your own PDF download of these paper charms in my Etsy shop. You can order a reading. Everything's in my link tree, and you'll see that in the little outro that's coming up right about now. So take it easy and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye. Bye. Thank you for watching. Stay connected with Cat the Minion Energy Work. Check out my complete suite of goods and services conveniently from my link tree. linktr.ee/cattheminion. Color your way into some relaxation with my coloring books Energy Forms and Draco Forms on Amazon. Get groovy with fashion and home accessories from my Cafe Press or Redbubble shops. Decorate your environment with original art and divination tools from my Etsy shop.